Hello and welcome everyone to today's cooking hour. Now for today there has been a request by Papa Panda who has asked me to go ahead and make some quail for dinner. See these little guys? Aren't they cute? Look at these little things. See the little legs? They're almost like little rockets all lined up in a row right here. Anyway, so very first thing that we do is we set to brining them. Now brining them means that we're going to boil a big pot of water, and into this water we're going to add Himalayan pink sea salt, ginger. I like to add chili powder to the brine. I'm going to put some bay leaves in there. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of star anise, black pepper, and freshly chopped garlic. Perfect. Now, you bring this big pot of water to a boil, and then once it's boiled, you need to let it cool down to room temperature. Once you've cooled it down to room temperature, you take your little quails and you submerge them into the brine and let them sit anywhere between 2 to 6 hours, up to your preference. We're probably going to half that and look at about 4. All right, well, let's get this to a boil first, shall we? Alrighty, welcome back. So, after you've let the brine water boil and then come to room temperature, we have plopped each of our pretty beautiful little quail right on into it and let them swim about for about 4 hours until they've soaked up a lot of seasoning and juices in order to make them a little bit more juicy. Now we're going to take them out individually, and you're going to pat them dry with a paper towel. Like so. Meanwhile, you are preheating your oven to as far as it can go, depending on what kind of oven you have. The best is around 500, maybe even 600 degrees. So go ahead and set your oven to 500, 600 degrees while you pat away at these lovely little burns. Wonderful. So the oven is almost at 500 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll be certain of that one. And we've got our little quail which have been patted dry. Now, next step, and this is exciting because you're going to get your fingers dirty, and I love playing with my food. Melt some salted butter. I do basically half a stick. Pour it right on top of your little birdies in their bowl. Like I said, get your hands dirty because you're going to have to coat them with all of that good melted buttery goodness. So, also, season. Now, this butter has already been salted, but I do like to add a little bit of extra crazy mixed up salt. I also like to do my own kind of seasoning here. It's a mixture. They're already pre-mixed. We have Porchetta seasoning and a good typical roasted garlic and herb pre-mixed seasoning. All right, now get on in there with your fingers, and you're just going to make sure that each bird gets nicely coated. Get underneath those armpits, on their wings, all over their breasts, the whole body, nice and on their legs and stuff too. Just make sure that seasoning is spread nice and evenly across each individual bird.
Sometimes you'll see that the cavity's there. Feel free to just stick a finger in there and make sure that you get some of that inside of the bird too. It's always nice.
Now that each individual quail has been nicely basted and seasoned and has all of that yummy melted gooey butter all over it, it's time to place it onto the pan so it can go into the oven. Now, one of the important things to do is to take your quail individually, and so these quail, well, they were presented, as you remember, with their little legs dangling all about. What's best is to kind of give them that little squat position so that they sit there nicely with their legs crossed, their butts up. Make sure that there is enough space in between each individual bird. You want to give them plenty of space so that they can be cooked evenly all around. When we put them into the oven, the reason that we have it at such a high degree, it's going to be there for not very long. We're probably going to put it in for just about 15 minutes. These birds are rather small, so they will cook fast, but we want them to cook fast, but also get a nice crispy skin texture on the outside. That's why you're putting the butter on, and why we've brined them up so that they can be nice and juicy and not be overly cooked and still retain a lot of moisture. Now, once you're placing them, one of the good things to do to make sure that they don't start touching each other is I've cut up some pieces of celery here. Now the celery, as anybody knows, is rather aromatic, so as it's cooking in the oven, it will keep them separated from each other, but also give additional flavors. So in order to give you a visual of what I was talking about placing the celery in between the birds, just to make sure they don't make contact with one another, this is what it looks like as you're going to put it into the oven. All right, time to put these suckers in the oven. So as we explained earlier, you're going to set your oven for 500 degrees. Once it has reached that, you're going to take these beautiful tasty suckers right here, stick them right on in. I'm going to put these in for about 15 minutes. Now remember, if you do much lower than 12, you're going to have some uncooked quail. And then if you do much higher, I would say the limit would probably be about 18 degrees. If you do much higher than that, then you're going to end up with some very dry quail. But yes, in it goes. And we'll set the timer for about 15 minutes. Checking in, like I said, because each oven's a little bit individualized, check in every 5 to 6 minutes just to make sure it's going according to course. You want to have a nice little brownish bronze on the skin, of course.
And while we wait, there were some comments on my last video wondering why I was not drinking my wine.
For any doubters out there, let me assure you, I drink wine every time I cook. Without fail. Cheers.
All right, so 15 minutes later, it is time to take the quail out of the oven. Yum. All right. Do remember that quail is a small, dark meat bird. So this nice kind of purplish pink color is what we're looking for. You want to make sure that the meat remains medium rare, so it doesn't become too dry and it stays succulent and moist. Take the birds out, set them on the side just for about 2 to 3 minutes, let them cool just a little bit, and then you're ready to plate and serve them with any kind of side that you want. We're going to do simple salad and potatoes. Enjoy, folks. Thank you for watching.